I'm often asked, John, why are you so involved with local politics? You're a busy man, you have a full life, why? Well, it began with a phone call from City Hall that frosted me like nothing else. So here's what happened. I once naively believed that if I paid my taxes, kept the laws, was a good neighbor, that the government would leave me alone. That belief was shaken one day in 2008 when I got a phone call from a Ferndale code enforcement officer. He said, Mr. Mutchler, we are considering a cease and desist order against you for a Ferndale code violation. What the freezing, frozen frog fritters was he talking about? What kind of egregious crime had I committed against the city of Ferndale? Was my grass too long? Did one of my children live a tricycle on the sidewalk? Or had someone discovered my teenage homeschool mad scientist son was working on a nuclear generator in the garage? No, none of those. I learned that a council member had reported me to staff that I was putting on an unauthorized piano recital on this dangerous piano in my home, something that I had been doing for decades. And 3 days before the recital, I was told that the city could issue a cease and desist order and shut me down. And so that night, for the first time, and not for the last, I started to pour over 19 chapters of the Ferndale Municipal Code. That's hundreds of pages of unfamiliar words and phrases, highly technical language, and mysterious acronyms and abbreviations. Frankly, it would have been a lot easier to read and understand the Dead Sea Scrolls in the original Hebrew. But I looked and I searched and I could find nothing prohibiting a small soiree of music lovers in my home. Frustrated and anxious and not wanting to tell my friends that a subversive afternoon of jazz music would be canceled, I went to City Hall the first thing the next morning, not all that happy. This was the first time I had ever been in the conference room at City Hall. It was me, Mayor Gary Jensen, my predecessor, and what looked to me like central casting from Goodfellas or The Godfather. Men in suits and ties ready to take me out back and beat me silly for entertaining the myth that we could do what we want in our own homes. What, did I think this was America or something? Well, kudos to Mayor Gary Jensen, one of the more practical and common sense politicians that we've ever had. He sized up the situation, cut the meeting short, and said to me, John, you go ahead and have your concert. I don't see a problem. And so I thought, that's it, problem solved. This is a one-off instigated by an overzealous city council member who wanted to double as a code enforcement officer. Problem solved, right? Wrong answer, Charlie Brown. It was just a few months later that the Ferndale City Council passed a home business occupation ordinance that limited the number of music students one could have in their home in a day at 10 and no more than 2 at a time. Why? Why would the city have an interest and want to waste their time making lawbreakers of us if a local flute or violin teacher is practicing with 3 students in their basement making a trio or a quartet of music, or perhaps if 11 students showed up in a 12-hour day? Who cares? And so that, in a nutshell, is why I first ran for city council in 2009. Now, don't get me wrong, I believe in being a good neighbor, and if the city wants to regulate traffic or pollution or excessive noise or unsightly activities, go ahead, I'm all for it. But I believe in don't ask, don't tell privacy concerning things that go on behind closed doors. And if it's not unsafe, if it doesn't hurt the environment, if it's not illegal, why should our local government care what we do in our homes? And I'd like to add this. These types of home-based activities are essential to our local economy and quality of life and help families pay the bills and pay the taxes around here. I was wrongly threatened with a cease and desist order. It happened to me. I don't want it to happen to you. If you agree with me, please visit my website, www.voteforjohn, spelled JON.com. And so here's the point. I have spent the last 12 years, more than most, trying to keep government hands out of our pockets, their eyes out of our homes, and their interference out of our lives. I'm asking the citizens of Ferndale to return me so we can keep our government busy working on public safety, traffic, affordable housing, jobs, and let us mind our own business. Thank you for watching.